Let's read Joshua 6, 1-20. The gates of Jericho were shut tight and guarded closely because of the Israelites. No one went out and no one came in. And the Lord said to Joshua, I have handed Jericho over to you. March around the city once with all your fighting men. In fact, do it for 6 days. Have 7 priests get trumpets made out of ram horns, and they must carry them in front of the ark. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times. Tell the priests to blow the trumpets on your march. You will hear them blow a long blast of trumpets. And when you do, tell the whole army to give a loud shout. The wall of the city will fall down. Then the whole army will march up to the city. Everyone will go straight in. So Joshua called for the priests, and he said to them, Go and get the ark of the covenant of the Lord. I want 7 of you to carry trumpets in front of it. He gave an order to the army. He said, Move out, march around the city, and some of the fighting men must march in front of the ark of the Lord. When Joshua had spoken to the men, the 7 priests went forward. They were carrying the 7 trumpets as they marched in front of the ark of the Lord. They were blowing the trumpets. The ark of the Lord's covenant was carried behind the priests. Some of the fighting men marched ahead of the priests who were blowing the trumpets. The others followed behind the ark and guarded all the priests. And that whole time the priests were blowing the trumpets. But Joshua had given an order to the army. He had said, Don't give a war cry. Don't raise your voices. Don't say a word until the day I tell you to shout, and then shout. So he had the ark of the Lord carried around the city once. And then the army returned to the camp. They spent the night there. Joshua got up early the next morning. The priests went and got the ark of the Lord. The 7 priests carried the 7 trumpets. They marched in front of the ark of the Lord. They blew the trumpets. Some of the fighting men marched ahead of them, and the others followed behind the ark and guarded all of them. The priests kept blowing the trumpets. On the 2nd day, they marched around the city once, and then the army returned to camp. They did all this for 6 days, and on the 7th day, they got up at sunrise. They marched around the city, and just as they had done before, but on that day, when they went around it 7 times, the 7th time around, the priest blew a long blast on the trumpets. Then Joshua gave a command to the army. He said, Shout. And the Lord has given you the city. The city and everything in it must be set apart to the Lord. The priests blew the trumpets. As soon as the army heard the sound, they gave a loud shout, and then the wall fell down. Everyone charged straight in. So they took the city.